The Air Force announced Friday it will reverse disciplinary action against service members requesting religious exemptions from the military's vaccine mandate. What this sweeping policy change means in practice is that involuntary discharge proceedings against service members will stop immediately. We saw, once again, government overreach based on faulty information and can celebrate this win. But what does it mean now? Joining me to discuss it is Siri. He's an attorney representing Air Force service members in a mandate case. Aaron, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's good to have you. Now, tell us how you reacted to this recent announcement from the Air Force.
Oh, it's great. It's great news. The Air Force is slowly winding back all of the harm that they've caused. As you mentioned, we represent the members of the Air Force that sought a religious exemption to the COVID-19 vaccine. And we are very pleased that the federal court granted a class-wide injunction against the Air Force discharging any member of the Air Force who sought a religious exemption from COVID-19 vaccine. And the Sixth Circuit upheld that class-wide injunction. And so that relief, once set in place, prevented anybody from being discharged. And then, of course, Congress passed the law spearheaded by Congress Masson and others to then repeal the COVID-19 vaccine mandate in the Air Force. So what's left now is what I would call root and branch relief. It is uprooting, not just fixing on the surface the problem by getting rid of the mandate, but going all the way down to the roots, and every single wrong that has been inflicted on these members of the Air Force for trying to hold tight to their religious convictions, the first freedom under our Constitution, must be remedied. This announcement is one more step. It's not a full step. It doesn't fix it all, but it's just one more step towards root and branch relief. And what this does is it is the Air Force announcing they're going to remove any negative marks, GOMARs, flags that service members have on their records. So we still have a ways to go. We still have to make sure, and we made this clear in our lawsuit with the DOJ, they have to unwind anybody they've discharged for this wrongfully. Anything less than honorably needs to have a discharge that is now elevated back to honorable. People that didn't get pay in points need to get their pay in points. Folks that didn't get proper flying time need to get catch-up time, and various other things that need to be remedied still. But we're very heartened. This is a step in the right direction.
So to that point, you mentioned that this does not necessarily reinstate those who have been dismissed from the airport or from the Air Force, over the vaccine. But it stops the proceedings for those who are in the process of being dismissed. What remedy, if any, is available for those who have already been removed but would like to be back in the Air Force?
Just as a point of clarification, what stopped the proceedings to discharge anybody was an injunction issued many months ago, issued in the class action case we brought, and then it was affirmed in the Sixth Circuit. And so those proceedings stopped long ago. And what was just issued 3 days ago was that the Air Force put out an announcement that if you got any flags on your record, GOMARs, or any other negative marks on your official record, those would be removed. They would be erased. And that's critically important. If you're in the Air Force and you want to advance in your career, you can't do that with a GOMAR on your record. You're actually stuck. So that's what that did. And I'm sorry. And the other part of your question was.
No, and I'm wondering, for those who have already been dismissed, if they wanted to get back in, what do you think this means for them?
Sorry about that. Yes. As for those that have been dismissed, what it means for them at the moment, there is no order that says, hey, if you've been dismissed, you can just come right back in where you left off. That is not yet in the works. That has not yet been issued by the Air Force. The first step is to make sure that anybody that was dismissed can at least have an honorable discharge. Right. For those who want to go back in, they should have that opportunity. And that's something that we're working on still within the confines of the seeking, like I said, root and relief within this lawsuit that we are still in the middle of.
We're talking to Aaron Siri, who is representing members of the Air Force in religious exemption cases regarding the vaccine. And Aaron, you mentioned that the courts had previously stopped the dismissal of service members over this issue. We now see the Air Force, and in fact, other branches are as well. The Marine Corps has lifted its requirement that you have to have a COVID vaccine to be deployed overseas. So the military is changing their policies. Do you see this as a recognition by the Pentagon that mistakes were made, or is this simply just surrendering to what the court said they must do?
Yeah, I would like to think that that those that run the military recognize that they did something very wrong here. They were sworn to protect and defend the Constitution. They asked those in the branches of our military to lay down their lives if they must to defend the Constitution. And the very first freedom in the Constitution, the freedom this country was founded on, is religious freedom. And they did not respect the religious freedom of those who, for example, did not want to participate in products that involved abortions, aborted fetal material, which all the currently licensed and authorized COVID vaccines did. They are all involved fetal material either in the development or in actually the formulation itself. They have a sincerely held belief against that. Our clients, for example, the plaintiffs in our suit, they're fine with getting other vaccines. They just don't want to take any vaccines that involve what they consider to be murder. So no, I think that the reason that the brass in the military is acting is because they are facing legal action with these judges that's not looking very good for them. These judges are thankfully upholding that First Amendment right and holding the brass to what they've done wrong and making them remedy it. And so I think that's unfortunately more so what is forcing them to remedy what they've done wrong, not so much a recognition of what they did wrong.
Well, hopefully that will come with time or simply new leadership, because this was a problem. It continues to be a problem. But Aaron Siri, we're grateful for you jumping into the fray on behalf of those who have been threatened by what the Pentagon has done here. Aaron Siri, thanks for your time today as well.
Thank you.